Today we're turning this cheap Arbor Press into one of the most useful leather tools I have. Stay tuned. Greetings adventurers and welcome to Skill Tree, where we learn how to do just about everything. Now, I've been doing leather on this channel since the beginning. My very first episode was leather, actually. As such, over the years, I've gathered a whole bunch of useful tools to make this process easier. But it wasn't until recently that I actually saw some images online of somebody who had taken an arbor press and fashioned it to be something that you can use for leather crafting. And then upon researching it, apparently this is like a fairly common thing that people do, and I really wanted to try my hand at it. So that is what we are doing here today. I'm going to take a cheap arbor press and turn it into a super useful leather crafting tool. A little bit behind the curtain, I've made this thing, and I actually bundled it while I was doing another project as well, and I've used it already. And god damn, it's so useful. I love it so much. Anyways, without much further ado, let's just jump right into this thing. The arbor press in question is this one here that I got from Harbor Freight & Tool. Y'all wouldn't believe how many times it took me to say that. That I got from Harbor Freight Tool. Here that I got from, oh, wow. If you don't know what an arbor press is, it is this thing. It is a press. You basically turn this little arm here, which causes the center post to come down and press things with 1 ton of force. In fact, this is the little guy right here. I know it doesn't look any different, but trust me, it's very different now. Now, all the changes we're gonna be making this thing are to the ram, which is this metal piece right here. To start doing that though, we actually have to disassemble this thing. Now it's pretty easy. All you have to actually do is remove these bolts here. Just simply using a wrench to remove the 4 corner bolts, not the other ones that are sitting there. These other bolts are actually here just to straighten this thing out. If it's kind of sloppy or moving around, you can push in these bolts here and then the ones on the side to help even that out and give it some pressure. Now once you open it up, you're gonna see that the ram has all these little teeth here. The way this thing works is there is a thing called a pinion inside that turns and grabs onto these teeth, and that's what makes it go up and down. You'll also notice this little metal shim that's in here. That's actually just designed to go up against these bolts so that the ram has something to slide against and isn't like bolts digging into it. So yeah, don't lose that thing. It's really easy, it just kind of flies out afterwards. Okay, so the modifications we're looking to do to this thing are actually right on the ends here. Basically, we want to make a way to be able to mount like tools and stamps, punches, all that type of stuff right onto this so it does the work for us. To do that though, we first got to find center where we want the hole to be. This is dead simple though. You just use a ruler going from one corner to the other one diagonal, drawing a line there, and then do the same thing on the opposite side to make an X. The very middle of that X should be the very middle of that square. Now, I'm going to be drilling this with a drill press because it's the only way I trust that that is going to be straight. If you're going to be doing it with a hand drill, just make sure you like keep a level on everything. Make sure if you have one of those drills that have a bubble level, just try to keep it as straight as possible if you can. Now, I did run into some trouble because I have nowhere to mount this on my drill press, but luckily I do have this piece of railroad track that I cut to make an anvil. Episode for that up here, by the way, in case you're curious. But yeah, I was just able to kind of secure this thing to it and then use a level to make sure it's perfectly straight in relation to that anvil on both the front and sides. Once I was happy that that was secured and straight, it was time to actually drill the thing. To do this, I'm starting with a small drill bit for a pilot hole, making sure to add some 3-in-1 lubricant to it so it doesn't get too hot. If you just kind of try to plow through this thing, steel will actually do a thing where it becomes work hardened. You're gonna heat it to the point that it actually gets harder. And once it's work hardened, you could drill as much as you want. It's just gonna kind of smoke and heat up, and it is the least relaxing task there is. And I tell you this because I did it. I added like the oil to it. I think I just tried to push down too hard. Oh man, I was fighting it for hours. I was so stressed out. To help de-stress me from that situation, I turned to today's sponsor, Fume. Now, if you've never heard of Fume before, it is a flavored air device, which does exactly that. It flavors the air. I carry my standard Fume with me basically everywhere I go. It has a nice like clickiness to it. I love the flavors they have. They're really, really great, but recently Fume released a new product called Fume Zero that I'm really excited about. Basically, Fume Zero is a single-use flavored air device, which, just like their standard device, has no nicotine, no vapors, doesn't need batteries at all. It's just a fun little device that you can, again, fidget with, but also take in some nice flavored air, which is genuinely relaxing. I've got the crisp mint one right now, and it's like tasty, it's fun to chew on. I don't know, I really do love this product. And the best part is the Fume Zero is only $24.99. It's super approachable to try this thing out. Fume has already helped over 500,000 people change habits, and the Zero here is their most accessible one yet. If you'd like to give it a try, just click on the link in the description below or try our QR code. Once that pilot hole was drilled, I moved up to a 3/8 drill bit, and again, very slowly with enough lubricant, drilled that down. It doesn't need to be crazy deep. I think I did mine like 1.5 inches deep. Just enough so you know you can like seat a tool in there or something and not have it wiggle around on you. Speaking of that though, we're not just gonna rely on sticking a tool in there and hoping for the best. I actually want a way to lock this thing in place. And the best way to do that is by using a set screw so I can actually lock the thing in place. To make that happen, I'm gonna drill again, this time going through the side all the way into that hole that I made. This I drilled up to be 1/4 inch, I think. Yes, 1/4 inch. I did that specifically to match these little set screws that I have here that just have kind of an Allen top to it. Now, a lot of times you'll see people who are doing this project put in a thumb screw, which is perfectly fine if you want to do that, if you don't want to have an Allen wrench around. I like having these little set screws though, because once they're in, they're flush and they don't get in the way of it kind of going up and down as tall as I can get it. It's a tiny thing, but it works out. Anyways, to make it actually accept this screw, we have to tap the hole. I don't think I've ever done that on this channel before. Tapping it basically means adding threads to that hole that we just made. To do that, we're gonna use the aptly named tap. All I did was find the right size, which in my case here, I believe was a 1/4 thread, and just kind of screwed it in, moving slowly at first, letting it cut away what it needs to in order to inset those threads into here. Once I was happy I was all the way through, I just busted out ye olde Allen wrench and screwed that little keeper screw in. Now, I've been keeping a dirty little secret from you. I haven't just been doing that one side, I actually did both sides. This is because I have various tools, most of which fit that 3/8 nice and snug, but I also have some that are stamps and punches and whatever that actually need a 1/2 inch hole. Now I could have just drilled one side to be a 1/2 inch and then relied on that keeper screw to keep it into place. It would work, but it doesn't work perfectly. It's always just cocked a little bit. There's just too much room to make it perfect. With this, now I have the option of adding a bunch of different tools. I just have to take this out, turn it around, and put it back in. So as you can see here, I locked in my little fork punch, and it sticks nice and snug. It's perfect. Then on the other side, I have this little 1-hole punch, which is actually also the body of my regular, like, large hole punch. But that fits in the 1/2 inch side perfectly. Now, before I put this back together, I did want to mention something. Because I am putting a hole in either side, that's the way I wanted it, I'm not going to do another thing that is a super common and super useful thing to do with these. And that is basically removing 2 or 3 of these teeth. Basically, if you were just to grind away 2 or 3 of these teeth here and have that be at the bottom, then once this thing reached the top, you'd be able to do this. See how it just slides? Like that? That makes it so you can position this arm in a more like fortuitous position. So sometimes if you really want like max leverage, the position for max leverage is this, right? This is, you can push down and give all your strength. The worst position is if it bottoms out and you're like up here, because then you really can't pull against it well. It wants to fall over. You're not pushing down into the ground. It's just a pain. So by removing those teeth, you can just make it so all you have to do is bring it back up, you adjust it a few clicks, and then you can bring it back down exactly where you want it. Again, because of what I want, I'm not doing that. But since I'm gonna make it so I can take this thing on and off pretty easily, because I do want to be able to twist this back and forth, I just know that before I put it together, I put it down at the bottom as low as it's gonna go, and I put it in the position I like it. Once it's in this position at the bottom, I know that's where it's gonna end up when it bottoms out, so then I can start putting this thing together. Now, when I say I'm gonna do this in a way that I can take it on and off easily, I'm really just kind of finger tightening these bolts here, and then relying on these spacer bolts just to make sure everything stays snug right where I want it, so this doesn't move around too much once I'm ready. See, and with those tightened, it's like nice and strong, perfect. Although that does lead me to a different point. If I'm going to be punching holes or whatever, I can't be doing that into the base that this thing comes with, this little metal bit here. My solution to this was actually using this old cutting board here that I've been using to punch holes for like ever. I just use a marker to trace out the shape that I would need, then I cut it out using this coping saw here. Now I didn't show it because I'm dumb, but I also sanded it so that it like was nice and smooth and looked uniform, like it was made that way. It's the little things, you know what I mean? But we can't just leave it like this because every time we go to push it, it's gonna slide all around or whatever. So we're gonna actually utilize this groove. Oh, it's crushing my finger.
It's crushing my finger.
Ignore that. didn't happen. To make it stick in there, I just used a piece of wood and traced out that little shape. Then again, with my coping saw, cut it out. Finally, I marked where it would land on my cutting board piece here, and then used contact adhesive on both sides, waiting for it to become tacky before permanently sticking it together. Now this piece slides in perfectly and stays put. Look at that. You ready? Whoop! And it stays right there. It's part of it. That's great. I love that. Though in future, what I might do is put maybe like a little hook down here that goes to the bottom so that when I pick something up after punching it, this doesn't want to stick up with it. Not a big deal. I can just keep my hand on it and it works just fine. But this is a work in progress. I think there's improvements we could still make. But yeah, check this thing out. Using it, it's super easy to punch these holes in case I was sewing or whatever. No more just pounding away with my hammer into the night, which I love. But then when I decided to go ahead and make like a punch, like a hole punch, I realized something kind of cool. That smaller hole is actually the right size for the threading for all of my punches. So I decided to actually just tap that as well. Everything else can still fit in it nice and fine, and it's not going to affect the threads at all. But now I can actually thread in these punches directly to it. And this makes it just dead easy to punch holes, which is really great. I mean, obviously you can just use like a hole puncher or whatever, but when you have a very big stack of leather like this, then all you gotta do is punched. Grab my thing here. That's fantastic. It's super easy, takes no time to do. It doesn't take like bear claw grip onto a hole punch. It's awesome, I love it. I then tested out putting an eyelet in, just using the regular anvil and striker. And yeah, worked out great. Barely had to push down at all. They set so easy. I even decided to try to see how it would do for like stamping. And again, perfect. I did a shit job lining these things up. But the design is super clear and deep, and there's no risk at all of it like jumping around while I'm hammering. I love this thing. I love it so much. I think it's so cool. And it's especially good because I want to start making my own leather stamps. I've got the laser, I've got the material to do it with, so now maybe I can make some cool patches and be able to mill them out really fast. I don't know, it just opens up a lot of doors. I'm very, very excited about this thing. And yeah, for something so versatile, it was actually really cheap. I think I got this Arbor Press a while back on sale at Harbor Freight for like $55 or something like that. But just check out Facebook Marketplace, it's full of these things. Anyways, I hope you found this useful. Definitely leave down in the comment section below other things you think we could do to this to make it like even more versatile, right? Also list if there's any other kind of tools you've made like this before out of something else. I really like this type of thing. Also, while you're in that general vicinity, if you like what we do here, why don't you give me some of that like it love, and don't forget to subscribe so you know when I release new content. In the meantime though, keep leveling up, you. You've made it to the end screen. YouTube loves it when you do that. It's a fantastic way to support this channel. And another fantastic way to support this channel is by joining these people's noble ranks. These are our Patreon members, and we can't do any of this without them. Giant shout out to our newest high tier Patreon member, Rachel C. And a massive shout out to our Grandmaster Patreon, WildFox99, Froggy, and Dragon Designs. We absolutely cannot do just any of this without you. It's incredible that you support us. We're so super thankful. So again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for what you do. If you like what we do here and want to support us, consider joining our Patreon, link in the description below. Otherwise, you can click on one of these videos that YouTube thinks you'd like, and that helps out a lot too.
It's crushing my finger.